This is TradeFlow News, bringing you relevant news and insights from around the world. TradeFlow News, enabling trade for SMEs and economies worldwide.
These are some of the key topics that we will be looking into in today's program.
First, let's take a look at the overnight headlines which are impacting the commodity markets. China has received a new shipment of nearly 2 million barrels of Iranian oil in the past week at a southern port, according to shipping trackers, with one tracker saying the cargo is destined for state reserves. The 260,000-ton cargo, carried by vessel Dorena, which is owned by the National Iranian Tanker Corp, NITC, was discharged at Zhanjiang port, according to shipping tracking specialist Vortexa Analytics, as well as U.S. advocacy group United Against Nuclear Iran, which specializes in tracking Iranian oil flows. A Vortexa analyst told Reuters the cargo was for state reserves. Previous imports of Iranian oil for China's state reserves have also been facilitated by NITC vessels and discharged at Zhanjiang.
Russia may cut off gas to Europe entirely as it seeks to bolster its political leverage amid the Ukraine crisis, the head of the International Energy Agency, IEA, said on Wednesday, adding Europe needed to prepare now. I wouldn't rule out Russia continuing to find different issues here and there and continuing to find excuses to further reduce gas deliveries to Europe and maybe even cut it off completely, IEA Executive Director Fatih Birol said in a statement sent to Reuters. This is the reason Europe needs contingency plans, Birol added, saying a recent reduction in flows may be an attempt to gain political leverage ahead of higher demand winter months.
Moving on to the top news in the energy sector.
2 drones flying from the direction of Ukraine hit a major Russian oil refinery near the border on Wednesday, the plant said, sending a ball of flame and black smoke billowing into the sky and prompting the plant to suspend production. Russian regions bordering Ukraine have reported numerous attacks and shelling after Moscow sent its troops into its former Soviet neighbor on February 24 for what it calls a special military operation. The Novoshakhtinsk oil refinery in Russia's Rostov region said the first drone struck at 8:40 a.m. 0540 GMT, hitting a crude distillation unit, triggering a blast and ball of fire.
Oil prices tumbled on Wednesday as U.S. President Joe Biden intensified his efforts to cut fuel costs for drivers and as Wall Street slid on fears that rate hikes by the Federal Reserve could push the U.S. economy into recession. Biden is expected to ask the U.S. Congress to consider a 3-month suspension of the 18.4 cents per gallon federal tax on gasoline and call on states to suspend their fuel taxes, a senior administration official said. While lower pump prices could actually boost demand for fuel and support crude prices, PVM analyst Stephen Brennick said traders could be worried the Biden administration might take further measures to cool high energy prices.
Next, we have the top news in metal markets.
Copper prices slumped to their lowest level in over a year on Wednesday on increasing fears that rapid interest rate hikes would topple the global economy into recession as China grapples with COVID-19 lockdowns, hitting demand for metals. Aluminium and other industrial metals joined the sell-off in risky assets, which also dented oil and equity markets. 3-month copper on the London Metal Exchange slid 3% to $8,724 a ton by 14:20 GMT after falling to its lowest since March 4, 2021 at $8,656.
The global nickel market deficit narrowed to 200 tons in April compared with a shortfall a month earlier of 8,900 tons. Data from the International Nickel Study Group, INSG, showed on Wednesday. During the first 4 months of the year, the global market was in a deficit of 8,100 tons compared with a deficit of 63,900 tons in the same period of 2021, Lisbon-based INSG added. We will now look at the top news in the agricultural sector. A strong ruble, high export tax, ongoing problems with freight and lack of forward sales are expected to hamper the start of the new export season for Russian wheat in July despite an expected record crop, analysts and traders said. Russia, the world's largest wheat exporter and which supplies mainly to the Middle East and Africa, will start harvesting the new crop within days and amid Western sanctions imposed on Moscow after it sent thousands of troops to Ukraine on February 24. These sanctions have complicated the processing of payments for Russian deals in Western banks and deterred many owners of large vessels from doing business with Moscow.
That is all for today's news on commodity markets. Stay tuned to TradeFlow News as we continue to provide you with more updates. We also invite you to follow us on Twitter at TradeFlow News, which allows you to watch our program on your mobile device or desktop to receive information from there.